Xbox Game Pass numbers for Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 rolled through this week, showing that Halo Infinite, to this point, has had 20 million players. So that's a combination of all platforms. So that's your Steam, that's your Xbox, that's your Game Pass, that's physical, digital, and Game Pass play, which is the 3 different categories. 20 million have rolled through. That doesn't mean there's 20 million actively playing right now. That just means 20 million people have played the game. And as for Forza Horizon 5, an impressive 18 million have played Forza Horizon 5. So if anything, even though you know that, for example, there's not 20 million Halo players and 18 million Forza players at this exact moment in time, the Game Pass method is clearly working, because a lot of this number is bolstered by Game Pass, and it's not always about getting somebody to play for a really long period of time. It's about getting people to play games that they might not have played otherwise, and maybe they spend money on them in those individual games. And what do these numbers show? Certainly for Forza at 18 million, that the plan thus far is clearly working when it comes to Game Pass.
Well, I think racing games in general probably suit this type of model some of the best. At least coming from a person like me that don't play racing games. If I had Game Pass, I'd probably throw on Forza, just jump in a couple of races, see what it's all about, instead of going out and spending $100 on a game.
Yeah.
So I think that, games like Forza, ones that, and it's not that Forza's got a bad reputation, it's got a great reputation. So like if you're going to play a racing game and you got Game Pass, you're going to play Forza. I mean,
it's a genre outside of the wheelhouse of a lot of people, but maybe just, like you're mentioning, maybe just interesting enough that you wouldn't want to spend the money on it, but you'd be willing to give it a go because you have Game Pass and it's there in front of you and you're not spending the $100 to give it a shot.
It's kind of like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but it's kind of like, remember those old school demos that you used to get back in like PlayStation
like in the magazines and shit?
There was always racing games in those demos. And even when I got like my PlayStation VR, came with like a demo, almost like an old school demo disc. And there's racing, and so like you always just go to racing. Like it's just one of those things that you can just pick up. You don't have to commit to it. There's no like, I'm sure there's a story mode and stuff, but like it's not your regular type of adventure game. You can throw it on, have a couple of races, turn it off, or keep it going. And Game Pass, I think, is great for those types of games.
Yeah, and like we were mentioning in the last couple of weeks, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, we were talking about how Game Pass is helping to bolster games that maybe had a rough launch and then have had the developers have been sticking with it, and it's on Game Pass now, and now it's doing numbers, right? And that's...
And with the movie business, it's the same thing. You got movies that don't do so hot in the box office, but then Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or wherever... they'll spend a large amount of money to have the rights to put to get the licensing to put the film on a streaming service. And next thing you know it's a massive success because people already are paying for the service. They're like, you know what? wasn't going to spend the money in the theater. So like, hey, it's a Friday night or it's a Wednesday night.
I need something to watch.
This kind of piques my interest, but like, I don't have to pay for it, even though I'm technically already paying for it. But you know what I mean? I'm just going to throw it in and check it out. And that's how a lot of lesser successful movies in the theater get greenlit for sequels, is because it becomes sort of a cult hit. Whereas like people didn't realize they loved it until they watched it, and they never gave it an honest chance, because you've got Spider-Man No Way From Home, you've got fucking, Marvel, this, that, and the other thing, and you got Scream.
These massive $500 million fucking blockbusters, right?
And if you gotta choose between like watching a smaller film or maybe one that's got a little bit of buzz, or watching the one that everybody's watching, probably gonna pick the one that everybody's talking about and the one that you really want to see over the other. But you can't afford to do both. It's kind of like you can't afford to spend $100 on every fucking video game you got, which once again is why Game Pass is the GOAT right now. And it's only going to get better, is because Dude, wait till another year or 2 years from now when there's 50 million people on Game Pass. The Forza numbers are going to be 30, 40 million players and vice versa. This is the game. This is why they spend $70 billion.
It's also, I guess, similar with Netflix, to keep the analogy, where there are projects that Netflix can fund that would never fly in a theater, but then do huge numbers on Netflix and make them money.
Yep.
Like Uncut Gems would never have gone to a fucking theater in a million years. You're not going to get a very serious Adam Sandler movie to fucking pop up in a theater, but they put that shit on Netflix, and all of a sudden it was the most talked about fucking movie for at least 2 or 3 weeks after it came out. And I'm assuming in time, as Xbox games has indie studios within them and they have a relatively large indie initiative, you're going to see games that wouldn't necessarily have gotten funding before, but now that they have Game Pass and they know that they can put this game in front of a bunch of people, if they get pitches from indie developers that look like they're going to be good, Microsoft comes in, gives them a little extra money, says that they'll take a cut off of Game Pass. The indie games developers say, fuck yeah, because you've got like 50 million friggin' subscribers, get me in on that shit, give me the money, I'll make this game. Microsoft says, have fun, we'll see you in a couple of years, comes back, and there you go. But if it was on their own, they'd have to secure their own series of funding. Probably not going to happen the majority of the time. And you either end up with like these crazy stories like Hello Games, where everyone sold their fucking house to fund the fucking game for No Man's Sky, and then almost torched it to the fucking ground and rebuilt it from ashes. You know, like those are one in a billion kind of a situation. Similar here, I think we're going to see things like that, and I believe in general, despite the fact that this consolidation and Game Pass, as there are, it's a double-edged sword. There's downsides to it. There's also some upsides, and that's definitely going to be one of them for sure. And I really look forward to it because, man, some of these indie games that have been coming out the last couple of years have been fucking dope, really good stuff. So let's hope for some more of that.